Hey there, everybody. Matt Carter here.
And Jessica Carter.
This may be the most dramatic Bachelor finale reaction in history, and I'm not exaggerating here. I think I am more angry at this very moment than I have been. And I watched the Ari debacle. I watched Mesnick. I watched Dog Food Jed last season, and yet Barb. I don't know Barb. I'm not gonna say I hate Barb because hate is a very strong word. As a television character who I have been forced to watch for the past 2 months because of this stupid bring her home tease, I strongly dislike Barb with every single part of me.
But don't tell me that you weren't watching that Barb cam every single minute it was on the screen.
I was watching it because they made me watch it. I had no choice. I was stuck. I don't need to know what Barb thinks about everything, and I'll introduce this further because I will just go on Barb for about 20 minutes. But if you do enjoy this video,
and you will, guys, don't worry, it's coming.
Yeah, which is really just a dumpster that has been lit on fire. If you do, just give us a like, subscribe to the channel, and hit that notification bell. Barb is the worst. Barb is so bad in so many different ways. In terms of how she acted on this show, how she's acted kind of in general. Yes, the production of this probably don't help anything because guess what the production did this whole season? They made it about Barb. So Barb, going into the after the final rose, she thinks this show is about her. Guess what, Barb? It is not your show. It is Peter's season.
It was the Barb show tonight. Like, let's not kid ourselves. Even I'm watching Peter and Madison reunite and that whole scene. She's flown to LA and what's in the corner? The Barb cam. And I'm just like, this is here the whole time.
Yeah, and I don't need this camera. Any hope of there ever being anything that's like lovely or romantic out of this is just burned to ashes. I don't want to hear The Bachelor talking about how they want a romantic ending out of this because you're putting Barb's mug up there so that she can like applaud when Hannah Ann is telling off Peter, which justified. We'll get to that later.
Okay, that was justified.
But beyond all that,
I was applauding that.
But you were also not Peter's mother on live television.
You know what? Peter needed to be told.
He needed that, but okay, I would have maybe given Barb a little bit of a pass if she had applauded Hannah Ann and then behaved herself for the rest of the show. But then she is like scowling when Madison, this woman who she obviously knows her son is in love with, is on screen. She is like jeering and making faces.
Yeah, and some of the stuff she said when Chris was like, so how do we proceed from here? And Barb's like, he has to fail to succeed. My jaw was on the floor. I was just like,
what?
Why are you so cruel? Like, that is so cruel to say something like that. Madison is in love with your son, and your son is in love with her. This person's going to be around. Like, you guys need to turn a corner. If your whole goal now is just to make your son miserable and make Madison miserable so that they break up, I mean, that's just a bad way to go through life, Barb.
Yeah, Barb. I mean, I feel like you should just say it like that at the end of every sentence now. I mean, come on, Barb. What are you doing? I understand fully. I'll say this. I'll understand fully if Barb has concerns and issues with Madison. I understand that 1,000,000%. But there is a time and a place to air out your issues. This is, yes, it's a show for all of America. And yes, Barb, you helped to strip the love story aspect of it from all of us. But you also can go home with these people after the fact and say, you know, I put on a good face for you, Peter, because I didn't want your moment to be destroyed in front of America. You didn't have to go there with like a Molotov cocktail and throw it in the middle of this. And
Okay. She handled it poorly.
Very poorly.
However, I disagree. I don't think that she had to go home privately. This entire journey that Peter has had with Madison, with Hannah Ann, and his family has all been televised, all of it. So I think that it's unfair then for Barb and the dad and the brother to all have to privately go home and not really have a chance to say something. say something. Not do this where you're just like airing it out in the worst way possible. Because a lot of the things that were said, don't get me wrong, I don't like Barb and I don't like the way she handled it. But if the things she said are true, which we don't know because Madison didn't deny it, at the end of it she just was like, it is what it is, which was like the weirdest thing afterwards. And when she said, Madison was outside, didn't want to come in, didn't want to meet them, was out there for 3 hours. That was probably production making a problem.
Yeah, probably.
That's fine. Okay, all of that. She comes in. She doesn't apologize for making them wait 3 hours, which is kind of rude. Even if it wasn't her fault, she's still involved in it. She could have come in, good first impression. Hey guys, I'm really sorry that you guys had to wait for 3 hours. This is why. And even if they didn't want to keep in the production part of it, where she was like, production did this or that, right? And it took 3 hours. They could have just cut that part out and she could have at least said, I'm sorry. Cool. Then Barb says, are you in love with my son? No. That was shocking. Like shocking. If my son proposes to you, are you going to accept? No. If I was a mom, if I was Peter's mom, and I had a woman come in telling me that they don't love my son, they are not going to marry my son, when my son is on a journey to find love and marriage, I would have a problem as well. I wouldn't air it out like Barb did. I'm still saying, like, that is not okay. But the actual points, if true, are okay. And I still think that it's okay that she talked about it on TV because the entire relationship, including the family, has all been on TV. So they have a right to be able to say their piece in a respectful way, though, Barb. Like, you can't say it like that.
Well, that's what I think what I'm talking about is that, yes, they do have a right to go on and talk about things. But I feel like what they did was very disrespectful to Peter. And I think it was very disrespectful to that relationship that he is trying to have. And that, yes, were you probably inconvenienced? Yes. Should Madison have apologized for it? Yes. Did she? We don't really know. And also, I mean, I will say this about Madison in that position. Do I think she handled it very well when she was confronted on this on the live show with the it is what it is? No, I think she handled that pretty poorly.
Yeah, she had a moment there where she could have said, even if it happened that way and it all played out that she didn't apologize, she could have taken that minute there, and I guarantee Bachelor would have aired it for sure, to have that moment where Barb is acting a fool and then Madison is like, listen, I'd like to take this moment to publicly apologize to you, to your family, to Peter, to anyone that I have offended during this time of everything that happened with the 3 hours and all of that. Please accept my apology. That would have been it. Like, Barb doesn't need to take a seat then, because then it would have been handled just in the right way. The problem is Barb was coming at her in such a way that I could see why Madison had her back. I was like, it is what it is. Because you're being a jerk, why should I have to be like this?
Well, and it's also a lot of other things that are probably being compiled on top of everything, because we don't know exactly, what sort of conversations that Madison and Barb have had since her and Peter got back together. I'm presuming that there have been some. There may have been ill will entering that, but also I just think I think Madison on some level, she had to be thinking in her head, Barb's gonna at least behave herself on the show, and she's not going to throw any of these Barb bombs, which is what I'm now calling them, out on the stage. I think she might have just been so just taken aback that Barb just did this, that she didn't know how to handle it, and she was rambling, and that's why I wonder, I don't know for sure if Madison would have done this, but she might have eventually gotten to an apology, but it felt like every single time Madison started talking, Chris Harrison eventually cut her off and went to something else. And that's my other problem here. Chris Harrison, you were willing to give Barb all the airtime in the world for her to say her piece, but then whenever Madison gets an opportunity to say her piece, yes, Madison needs media training. She says like every 3 words and she talks very slowly. I get that. but you always cut Madison off.
Well, also Madison felt like she just didn't know where to go with stuff, because there was one moment that she actually turned to Peter to be like, what do you think? Like, I think it was so overwhelming to have that, you know, the person who could be your mother-in-law, you're in love with her son, and she's waiting for you to fail. That last sentence of you need to fail to be able to succeed. She is hoping, praying, willing, trying to help it fail. So at that point, Madison, I'm sure, just felt like not just defeated, but sort of like, I don't even know what to do, because anything I say is going to make it worse with your family.
Yeah.
So help me out, man. Peter is really going to have to step up in a huge way when it comes to their relationship and his mom.
It's gonna be really, 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 really hard. And, you know, I know Madison certainly made plenty of mistakes, and we've already went through, if she didn't apologize, she could have apologized and all of that. But it's just after watching all of this, it's hard for me to have anything other than just full sympathy for Madison, just because she's in a spot where she's basically being reamed out by this person who could be her mother-in-law on TV. She's in front of all these people, a live audience, and, you know, maybe if she said that she wasn't in love with Peter and she wasn't going to accept an engagement, she was just, I don't know, like a day and a half after the fact of everything that had just happened, where I think in Madison's head, and this is Madison's mistake once again, I think she thought that she had made her thoughts perfectly clear to Peter about what she expected with the overnight dates, and I think she felt like she was betrayed. So she may have also just been very, very upset in that moment versus where she is now.
Yeah, but I mean, Peter even cleared that up with her, sort of put it out there where, I don't think she made her feelings clear. I think she danced around it a lot. He asked her 3 times before the fantasy suite dates, if I do this, will you leave? And she never said yes, not one time. So afterwards, when she said, listen, this is where I am and this is how I feel, and you didn't respect my feelings, for finally Peter to say, well, my feelings also matter in this. I am on this journey. I am trying to figure things out. I am in other relationships as well. So I think there's a little bit going on here with Madison where, you know, Barb even said this too, that one person is compromising everything and the other person is compromising nothing. Obviously she's talking about Madison not compromising anything. Yeah. So it feels like this has been a bit of the story edit on the show, that Madison is sticking by who she is, and this is who she wants to be. This is who she's going to be. If Peter's able to be part of it, great. If he's not, then goodbye.
And this is the thing. There's a door number 3 here. Like, I don't think it has to be you must change everything and compromise everything or nothing. You can hold true. And I feel like in my heart, this is what Madison thinks now, that she can still be herself and hold true to her values and hold true to what is important to her, while at the same time also compromising on a couple of things to make sure that Peter is happy and that his family is happy. It doesn't have to be either or, and it's just, Barb seems to think that she is completely inflexible in Madison, and guess what, Barb? You're also inflexible. You also don't want anything changed at all, so it's so hypocritical. I cannot believe that Barb went on live television and shamed her son's relationship. And then just Peter's poor dad, and I don't even remember this guy's name anymore. He's just like the poor guy stuck in the middle. I mean, he has to sort of stand up for Barb, but he's also...
Well, he didn't really feel like he was stuck in the middle. He felt like he was quietly expressing that he feels the same. Because that's how it came across to me when he was finally asked, and they were like, and what do you think, Peter's dad? And he was just like, I don't feel good about it. I mean, he wasn't wishy-washy about it. He just didn't express it in quite the fiery dumpster that Barb did. Yeah. But he felt pretty strongly that he was not a fan.
I just feel like Peter's father, if Barb had not just already destroyed the entire after show, that he would have just been there and smiled with his mustache, and then we would have moved on, and we wouldn't have had any of these issues. But, I mean, I don't like to do this a lot of the time, like prognosticate the future of these relationships, but do Peter and Madison even last a month? Are they even together tomorrow?
Well, that's the thing. I mean, I hate to say it because I really do like Madison. I just haven't thought that Peter's the right match. And sometimes we fall in love with people who are not the right match. And as much as you love somebody, when you're not the right match, you're not the right match. And there are things that people can't get past. And while a lot of the things that they have problems with, they can get past, faith is a tough one. I know that people will and can change religion to be with somebody, but it is something that's deep inside you. So someone can, open a door for you and say, hey, have you thought about this? What about this? And introduce you to something, but you still have to walk through that door. And he has said that he has faith, but the family's made it kind of clear that's like he's spiritual, but isn't religious. So I'm just not sure how that part of it's going to work. But the bigger issue now is that it's not just Barb doesn't like her. It feels like Barb is actively, and this is just my thoughts, this is maybe not happening. It feels like Barb is actively trying to burn this relationship to the ground with the things that she's saying, like he has to fail to proceed. Like, how is that going to help their relationship? It's not. It's helping to destroy it. So do I think they're going to be able to get past all this? Unfortunately, I don't. Unless Madison and Peter move across the country and Barb is not that involved in their life anymore, and I just can't see that happening.
Go back to Madison's house, Peter. You can have the special plate. You can enjoy all their time. Plate. You can hang out with Madison's dad, who looks like he's like 25. You can have a good time. You can become friends with Charles Barkley. I know he already made fun of you on TV. It'll all be okay, Peter. Go to Alabama. It's gonna be better than this. Just don't talk to Hannah Brown again. That's already clearly getting you into trouble.
Okay, yeah, we need to talk about this now. So we saw that he ended up proposing to Hannah Ann.
Yeah.
During the proposal, he tells her that Madison has left. I can't believe he did something that mean, that you're going to sort of put her on the spot. You're making a proposal and then being like, by the way, you're the only girl here, so don't think that's why this is happening, even though it is. And then at one point, I swear, Matt heard me shrieking from the other room. I legit thought that he called her Madison, because he said Madison and then he paused. And then Hannah Ann's face was like, really? I thought for sure he had called her the wrong name.
I didn't hear it when it happened, but I'm taking your word for it that it did.
Oh, it did.
Hannah Ann, you should have run at that minute. That was the moment you should have known. Like, this is the one thing I will give Peter a little bit of sympathy for. The only thing, because the rest of this is an unholy mess.
Oh my God.
I feel like production probably wouldn't let him tell her that Madison was gone until she was there, because otherwise they don't have their drama. Like, I don't know if they would have allowed it, but
That's cruel. It's not all right. You can't do that. These are still people, and it's still their feelings, and you can still have that dramatic moment by having the conversation on camera a couple days before. Hey, Hannah Ann, just wanted to let you know Madison has left. How do you feel about that? It would all still come out.
I really wish that we had the Hannah Ann that we saw tonight, like most of the season, because she was fiery, she was interesting, I felt for her, I sympathized with her. Like, she really got screwed over in all of this.
She's been getting screwed over for weeks. Like, I didn't need to see her get as fiery as this, because she's been getting clowned for a long time now. Like, it just feels, since Madison brought up these fantasy suite problems right before it, it feels like Hannah Ann's just been clowned and clowned and clowned. She's second best, and oh, I'm proposing, but only because Madison's not here. And then even their breakup, oh, are you, you still have feelings for Madison? Oh, a little bit. Then Chris shows up to Madison's place, is like, oh, he broke up his engagement for you. Absolutely, 100%. Dude, you can't even tell her the truth? And then on top of it, you're calling Hannah B? You've been engaged for a month, bro. And then you're gonna call up one ex. You're still in love with another ex. Hannah Ann, I feel really bad for you. This was really crap.
Peter clearly thinks that he can be the Bachelor in real life in addition to being the Bachelor on the show, and he can continue to go around and talk to all these people. That's why, this is another reason why I don't think, unfortunately, Peter and Madison are going to work, because it doesn't seem like Peter can ever really make up his mind on anything, and it was super mean what he did to Hannah Ann. I'm sure it felt a lot like she probably knew that they were breaking up before she ever showed up there, but it's still really hard to deal with all of that in person. I think Hannah Ann earned herself a lot of support tonight among people. I think Hannah Ann is going to be probably the star of Paradise when she goes there a little bit later this summer. It doesn't take away from the fact that she, had an engagement just completely wrecked by this guy who doesn't clearly know anything about what he wants out of life.
I just think that the real issue of Peter's season, and this is not Hannah Brown's fault at all, I'm going to preface this by saying that, not Hannah Brown's fault, was her coming to the show. And he's denied it, and he can deny it until the cows come home. But the fact that he called Hannah B while he was engaged tells me that when she showed up to the show and all those feelings came out and the box was opened and it was just like feelings everywhere, he never had his head back in the game. It felt like it all season, and then that phone call happened and it was confirmed for me. You can deny it all you want, Peter, but you made the phone call.
I think ultimately what we really saw this season is that Peter was never really over Hannah B.
No.
I think he does love Madison. I don't doubt that. I think he does want to be with Madison. But I think it took him a long time after doing the show before he realized it, because he was still caught up in Hannah B.
I think that the person he really wanted to be with, and this is just my feelings, is Hannah B. Because he was with Hannah Ann, engaged. He didn't call Madison. He called Hannah B. So if he really wanted Madison, Madison was the first choice. I think Madison was the second choice. I think Hannah Ann was the third choice. I think Hannah B was the first choice. And because I think if he called Hannah B and the closure was actually Hannah B saying, yeah, I'm still in love with you. Do you want to give us a chance? That would have been it. They would be together right now.
I don't know. I'm not as firm in the Hannah B is the number one choice, just because it's so difficult if you're the Bachelor, I think, to get in touch with people who you're on the season with. But I don't deny that your theory is a strong possibility. I think it is something that is going to be considered. Now, one thing I do want to clear up is Chris Harrison visiting Madison. I had this thought for a second, and I'm sure a lot of people did. Mm-hmm. Why is Peter not doing this himself?
Yep.
I think the big reason why is if you put Peter around Auburn and Alabama, the show was unspoiled at that time, somebody would have found out. So that's why Chris was there, and not because nobody really knew why Chris was there.
Yeah.
Couple other weird things about the finale before we talk a little bit about Clare. Why are you guys bringing in Neil Lane and just having him sit there for 2 hours? That is like the ultimate troll job.
It is the ultimate troll job. Obviously, they wanted to think that maybe there would be a proposal, maybe Peter would change his mind, but Barb was not letting that happen. There was no way a proposal was happening tonight, even if it was on Peter's mind. Barb is the ruiner.
Let me ask you this question now. Do you think that Peter entering this finale was dead set on proposing, and that's why they had Neil Lane there, but then Barb decided to just wreck it so that there was no way this engagement could happen?
No, it sounds like him and Madison had only had a few conversations, that they knew that they were in love and they knew they wanted to proceed, but I think they know that there are some huge hurdles like Barb, like the religion thing, that they got to find a way to compromise on and work through. There has to be something, because otherwise it's going to be an entire lifetime of Barb being like this to Madison and Peter just being stuck in the middle, and that is a real hard place to be. I have people that I know that are in that situation, and it is hard.
You're probably right. I want to live in a world where Barb knew they were getting engaged and she decided she was going to take them down limb by limb.
Oh, no.
But, okay, well, the other, also, you don't invite Kelly to the Women Tell All, and then randomly Kelly is at the finale, and they're showing her.
And you don't talk to her.
I legit, there was maybe like a 1% part of me. There was a 1% part of me that thought that after everything that happened, Peter was actually going to be like, you know what? Neil Lane, I need your help. The person I want to be with, I knew her before the season at the hotel.
Oh,
Kelly, come on down.
I saw somebody on Twitter thinking that she was there because she was representing Hannah Ann and was going to like sue Peter.
Oh, that would have been great.
That was so good.
Wait, why is Kelly coming down on stage? What is that paper she's got? Oh, this is the most dramatic finale in Bachelor history. You know, also, after all of this, the worst transition ever in Bachelor history. You know, Clare comes out. Poor Clare. She just wants to have a good time. She wants to meet her true love.
Yep.
There is no following this. There is no picking up the pieces left by Barb. And usually we get to meet some of the guys.
Yeah.
I also want to know this. Was like some, 28-year-old Instagram fitness influencer bro backstage feeling really disappointed that he did not get to come out and flex and do his whole routine because Barb ran long?
I think that this is just my theory, but that maybe not all of the cast has been cast yet. That they ended up going with Clare, who's a bit of an older bachelorette, and I say that feels like ironically because 38 is not old at all.
No.
That maybe they wanted to do a little more casting, and that maybe sort of, I'm sure they have people that are like, oh yeah, here's this casting and that casting, and sometimes we've seen people go on to seasons like Bentley or like, oh, I thought I was coming on to Emily's season, but it's you kind of thing. I think that they really want to get a good cast for her of quality guys. I have faith in you guys. After this season,
I don't have faith in you guys.
After this
You're gonna screw it up.
Please give us some really quality guys. Because listen, Claire's not going to put up with anything. She is not going to. We even saw it again tonight. If you had forgotten what happened with Juan Pablo, she is not going to put up with any crap. So don't put any guys in there like that, because I feel like she's just going to cut them.
I feel like there's probably a couple of things going on. I think a part of it is, I think they, I think there's even been on social media a couple of dudes who have come out and been like, I thought I was going on this season or whatever, and, they went in a different direction. So I think they've probably cut a couple of the younger guys. They're probably bringing in some more. I think they probably could have put a couple of people on this show tonight, but I think in the end, they probably had a sense, while they may act like nobody knew what was going to happen, you guys probably knew what was going to happen entering this, and they were probably like, you know what? We know that Barb is going to take up like 20 minutes with their nonsense, so Claire is enough of a tease.
Yeah, I think it's just hard to switch gears, because I really like Claire, so I was waiting, but even though before the first hour, I was just like, okay, it's time to just bring in the Claire, please. It needs to be happening at this point. I need some goodness in my life. So I think they knew that the transition was just going to be too difficult for people to go from such a broken, difficult, heartless kind of finale to then go into, and now let's celebrate. Here's the new guys. Yeah! It's just not going to work out.
Claire, you are really our only hope at this point. We have just went through Dog Food Jed. We have just gone through Peter's season. We have just suffered through Barb. We're gonna have to suffer through Listen to Your Heart with the shirtless guy with the guitar in bed with the woman. It's like, why are you holding your guitar right now, dude? What's going on here? And so by the time Claire's season rolls around, we need something. Please, Claire, save us.
She's going to. I feel it.
Okay, well, I could talk another 3 hours about Barb, but I feel like we will tie this up in a bow for now. Let's hear from you guys. How are you feeling? How are you coping with what you just saw? Just give us all your thoughts in the comments, and if you did like this video, give us a like, subscribe, and you can support us further by checking the link in the description to the store. And we'll see you here next time.